Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the second Outcasts Podcast. I'm your host, Jake Shelley. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at the Outcasts Pod. Today we're going to be talking about a whole mix-up of different sports out there, including the NFL, NBA, NHL, international football, and of course the ever-so-controversial college football. I'd like to start off the bat with introducing some of the new members of the Outcasts. Our full group contains 6 people. Last week on our first podcast, we had Zach Ives and Whit Ives, as well as myself. Today we have some other guys involved, so we're just going to go around the table right now and say our names and where we're from.
I'm Casey Honigbaum, and I'm from Ithaca.
I'm Jack Salmon. I'm one of the new members on the podcast. Excited to be here.
Jake Shelley, the host, been here for a little while now.
Jack Powers, JT Barrett got the first down.
Zach Ives from upstate New York.
And Whit Ives, also from upstate New York.
So that's our full crew. We got 6 total guys. I can't say that we're going to have all 6 for each one of the podcasts that we do, but we're going to certainly try. Off the bat, we're going to talk about NFL Week 12. Now, if you remember, if you listened to our last podcast, you know that we talked about Thanksgiving Day games and how Dallas has been on a roll. And also we discussed, the problems with the Redskins and the problems with other NFL teams. And we were anticipating Week 12, and the Sunday that it turned out to be was it was a mix of results. There was a whole bundle of shocking stories. I think one being the Raiders and the Seahawks. But we're going to talk about that right now. And looking at the 1 o'clock games, the Rams played the Saints, the Cardinals played the Falcons, and the Ravens played the Bengals. Andy Dalton in the first game against the Ravens, 26 completions, 283 yards, and a TD. So the Bengals have not had the best of seasons. I think we can all agree on that.
A little bit disappointing, but...
they've been missing some key pieces, but you kind of expect this Bengals team to be better than they are this year. And I think we're starting to see, as the weeks have gone on, that Andy Dalton has stepped up his game, and they're getting hot at the wrong time, I would say.
Part of their problem, in the game against Baltimore, the rushing attack was virtually non-existent. Burkhead ran for 29 yards, and Hill ran for 21 yards on 12 carries. But you're not going to win football games in the NFL if you can't move the ball on the ground.
And they also lost their best receiver, A.J. Green, with that torn hamstring last week, so that's a big blow for them this time of year also.
Talking about the Ravens moving forward, ongoing question has been, is Joe Flacco an elite quarterback? No. A lot of mixed views on that.
Very quickly we have a no.
But it doesn't matter.
Tier.
The Ravens find themselves tied for first place with the Pittsburgh Steelers right now. Moving forward, it's purple versus gold. It's been one of NFL's most heated rivalries, and it becomes more meaningful as both Baltimore and Pittsburgh are now tied for the division at 6-5 apiece. So I think that this is going to be, even though it's one of the more weaker divisions in the NFL, it's going to be one of the more exciting divisions to watch, because even though they're 6-5, they're playing for a big playoff spot.
I don't think the Ravens are that good. I think they're going to fall off. The Steelers are substantially better.
Well, the Steelers' offensive line is one of the best in the league. So I think that's going to be one of their. It's going to be one of their most important pieces to sustain their playoff run.
We've also got a receiver by the name of Antonio Brown. Puts up a lot of points every week, and Ben Roethlisberger, who I think Jack might agree on the fact that he is a bit more of an elite quarterback than Flacco.
He's substantially better than Joe Flacco.
So, also, the Steelers played they played a Colts team without Andrew Luck. Antonio Brown had 5 receptions for 91 yards and 3 TDs. The Steelers are getting quote-unquote hot at the right time, but so are the Ravens, so that's why I think this is going to be one of the more intriguing battles in the NFL. I'd like to talk about the AFC South. We discussed last week that it is the worst division in football, but it's also the closest race. The Texans are in first place, and Tennessee is a half a game behind.
The Brock Star.
Yeah, the Brock Star. Indianapolis is 5-6. They're still only a game behind. They lost the game against the Steelers without Andrew Luck. But moving forward, this is going to be an exciting division to watch, even though there's no J.J. Watt. Brock Osweiler is not playing well. Andrew Luck is injured. And Tennessee has Marcus Mariota, and that's about
that's
it.
it.
Right.
That's their team.
Yeah.
And he's been playing at an elite level the past couple of weeks too.
Yeah.
Mariota's better than Winston.
Well, I mean,
should have gone one.
It clearly puts to rest any controversy between whether or not Mariota was better than Winston,
It's not.
or
even
whether or
close.
not Winston was better than.
It's not even close.
Right.
I mean, that's decided.
I agree.
James Winston on the Buccaneers. Big win against the Seahawks. It was a very low-scoring game, but it was a big win for Tampa Bay. They find themselves in a position to make a pretty good postseason run now.
He'd probably be a wild card, I think.
Yeah, they're one win out of the division lead, and it's behind Jameis Winston, who has had an explosive offense. You know, Mike Evans is his main target, and every single team knows that, but they just can't slow him down.
What I said about Jameis Winston was not supposed to be a shot at Winston. Winston's really good, but Mariota's just a lot better.
Well, it was I thought it was just a disappointing game overall from the Seahawks. I mean, even before the game, people were saying that they were a more complete team than the Cowboys, and it's like, after watching their offensive line from that game, I mean, Wilson was sacked 6 times. He had no help at all. It was just I don't know if can the Seahawks can they still be trusted? Do we think they're still gonna make a?
Yeah, it's interesting. You see them a couple weeks ago. They go into Foxborough and beat the Patriots in that Sunday night game, and then they go down and they play Tampa Bay and put up 5 points.
Gronkowski got tackled at the end of that game. There's a lot of questionable things that happened in that game.
They still beat them in Foxborough.
And the Seahawks still have, some pieces that
Great defense.
moving forward will be extremely helpful when they make their playoff run. They still have Cam Chancellor.
Right.
Sherman. Graham's been playing really well.
They have Richard Sherman. Graham is playing, better than Pete Carroll could hope for.
Yeah.
And Russell Wilson, he didn't have any TDs in the game against the Bucs, but 17 for 33 and 151 yards, no picks. It's
It doesn't look as good because his offensive line didn't really help him out. Like we said earlier, he was sacked 6 times, and if your offensive line's letting you down that hard, it's hard to put up those numbers that can keep you in games.
Well, I mean, and Wilson made a couple plays with his legs. I mean, he had 80 yards rushing.
Right.
But, I mean, 17 to 33, 150 yards, and then he had 2 picks. And that really didn't help. I mean, you can't score 5 points in an NFL football game and have any shot. I don't care who you're playing.
Yeah, that's true. We're going to stay in the West. A tale of 2 halves for the Rams. Jared Goff got, they played the Saints, and it was definitely a shootout. And Whit and I were talking, and we've decided that once Drew Brees gets hot on offense, there's no slowing his offense down. It doesn't matter who he has; he's going to find ways to score touchdowns through the air. And Jared Goff was battling blows with him. They did lose to the Saints badly, but in the first half, Goff was 12 for 20. He had 167 yards, 3 TDs with a QBR of 126.5. In the second half, 8 for 12, 47 yards, no TDs, and interception. That's not very good. I know they can't ask for a lot out of this rookie quarterback because the Rams are not going to make the postseason.
No. Development,
Todd Gurley had 50 yards on 13 carries. That's not helping. But moving forward, Jared Goff could potentially, if he plays like he did in the first half, in any of the seasons coming up, this Rams team could regenerate. And they just signed Jeff Fisher to a 2-year contract, an extension. What are you guys' thoughts on the Rams?
I think they're going to be in a dark hole for a while. They gave up way too much to get Goff.
Right.
So unless he ends up being a superstar, they're not going to be able to, or at least they're going to struggle to find pieces to go along with him because they don't have many high picks.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, their biggest problem right now is they might end up being able to put up a lot of points if Goff gets going, but they won't be able to stop other teams from scoring on them. I mean, Breeze had 310 yards and 4 touchdowns. Ingram had 146 yards and a touchdown. you're gonna have to stop your opponent. You can't just try to outscore them. I mean, we saw what happened when they tried to get in a shootout with Drew Brees. You know,
It's not a smart
that
idea.
just wasn't gonna happen.
And for the first half, it looked pretty good from the Rams' point of view. They were around 28-21 at the half. Goff was playing well, like we said, and then Drew Brees kind of caught fire to start the third quarter. Rams didn't score again after halftime, so that's something they definitely need to work on.
Also, Todd Gurley is not having the year that people would hope he would have, at least Rams fans.
No.
He's having a down year after last year.
He had a great year last year, just not the same this year. And, that's okay. The Rams don't need him to perform right now because, face it, they're not going to perform as a team this year. I'd like to stay in the NFC. Moving forward, we're going to talk about this. I think this is a good question to ask the group. Is Kirk Cousins an elite quarterback, and does he deserve big bucks?
Yes and yes.
You like that?
I like that.
I like that.
I like
I
that.
like it too.
He was really good. I watched him play in that. What was it? I think it was a Sunday or Monday night game against Green Bay. It was a home game against Green Bay, and Cousins played very well. He outperformed Rodgers in that game, and that I wasn't sure about it, but after watching that, I definitely thought that he was an elite quarterback and that he will.
So, just to talk about the big bucks question, the NFL is and always will be a quarterback-driven league.
Mhm.
So we got guys like Brock Osweiler, Joe Flacco, Andy Dalton making huge bucks, and Kirk Cousins is better than all three of those guys, maybe combined.
But those guys aren't elite.
Yeah, and
But
what
they're
I'm
making
saying
big
is they're
bucks.
making big
Right,
bucks.
right.
So,
So
think of
he
what
may
Kirk
deserve big
Cousins is
bucks,
gonna
but I
make.
don't see him. I don't know if I see him as an elite quarterback necessarily.
I think
But
he
you
is.
see
That's-
him
I
as
mean-
more elite than those three guys.
Right.
well,
exactly.
Here's the thing: the Redskins did lose to the Cowboys on Thanksgiving Day. I think a lot of people are overlooking the Redskins in this game. They
Yeah.
lost 31-26. That's a touchdown. But hear me out: Kirk Cousins, 449 pass yards and 3 TDs.
Elite.
This is the reason I don't think the Cowboys are overrated. I think if you match them up with a good quarterback, I just think a good quarterback can pick apart that defense.
Yeah, but their offense is
Okay,
it's on high octane.
We just saw a good quarterback pick apart their offense, though. I mean, Cousins was 41 of 53.
Yeah,
He had
but
41
is
completions.
Is it sustainable to keep winning if
I
a
think-
quarterback does that?
I think what Jack is saying
they
is
won.
a quarterback with the likes of Drew Brees or Tom Brady that has that
Right.
experience just absolutely destroying defenses no matter how good they look. So if they meet up in the Super Bowl or if Dallas meets another elite quarterback in the NFC in the playoffs before the Super Bowl, how will they go about doing that? How will their defense handle an elite level, a quarterback that everyone knows is elite, and potentially with the likes of Brees or Brady, the greatest quarterback in NFL history?
Plus, the Cowboys' two biggest offensive weapons are both rookies, so there's always the chance they.
Which is unheard of, by
yeah,
the way.
yeah, which they'll be
What they're
good
doing is
for a
crazy.
long time. But their rookie year, I don't think it's necessarily a assured thing they perform in the playoffs.
Well, yeah,
There's
but
a
they're
chance.
going to get that experience
Yeah,
and moving
It
forward.
goes with the experience.
I'm talking about just this year.
Yeah.
Cowboys are going to be a force.
Okay, so that brings up another question. The Cowboys are running the table at 10-1. But watch out, because the New York Giants, I don't know how they do
right.
this. They always sneak in and find a way to be a threat. They're 8-3 right now. Eli and Odell are leading the way on offense, but with a bolstered defensive line behind veteran Jason Pierre-Paul, he may have lost a finger, but he hasn't lost his spirit. He's moving forward, and this Giants team is threatening. And if they make the playoffs, watch out, because Eli's streaky. Odell's a phenomenal receiver. If you just look at stat-wise what he's done in his first 30 games, you can't compare him to any other wide receiver.
No.
So,
they're-
the East is Cowboys right now, but what do you guys think about the Giants? I wouldn't say catching them, but overtaking them in terms of overall talent and poise.
Let's go back a couple years and remember what the Giants at 9-7 did to the New England Patriots in the Super Bowl. It doesn't. It won't matter what Dallas's record is at the end. I mean,
The Patriots were 16-0,
and
Regular
then they
season.
weren't, and they lost the Super Bowl to the New York Giants.
who were the
Twice.
last wild card.
So
Yes,
I mean,
twice.
anything's possible.
If you get a ticket
I
to
think
the
that
dance,
goes-
you can go home with anyone.
That's
That's true.
that's very true.
I think I think that goes along with Eli Manning's experience, though, and that's touching on what we said earlier about having a quarterback with experience being able to pick apart, especially a young team like that. would Eli Manning be able to pick apart
Yeah, but the thing with Eli is
Dallas?
you're either going to get 2 interceptions and
Right.
like sub 200 yards, or you're going to get like plus 200 yards and unbelievable
Right.
throws.
Right.
And the thing with Breeze is everyone knows he is probably one of the most consistent
Right.
quarterbacks in
Right.
the league, arguably close to the greatest. So I think it's the putting his experience, just being as consistently good as he is against that Dallas defense. Unlike Eli, who is, like Jake said earlier, he's streaky.
Yeah.
We know he can be really good.
But if he gets really good and it starts now, moving forward, this Giants team can overtake.
scary.
Yes,
Well, and here's the
absolutely.
thing: Eli Manning's at his best when, like the game against Cleveland, he only had 194 yards, but he had 3 touchdowns. That's when Eli's at his best.
Let's hold the phone there for a minute. Three touchdowns against the Browns is the equivalent to 1 touchdown versus other teams.
Well, but if Eli doesn't have to throw 40 passes a game,
That's true.
Yeah,
That's true. The running attack, I mean, you got to have more than passing.
Mm-hmm.
Just look at the Saints. They have passing, but they
Who dat?
Don't really have much.
and they're
else.
not in a playoff mix. So we're gonna get out of the NFC for a little bit. We're gonna head back to the AFC. We're gonna start wrapping things up on the NFL here. But in the West, Derek Carr, is he the front runner for MVP or is it Zeke?
Yes,
No.
it's Derek Carr.
Derek Carr.
Well, after he came back from a dislocated finger, he's got my vote for MVP.
Yeah, that was
Brett
great.
Favre right there.
Yeah. So Derek Carr is the front runner for MVP.
Yeah.
But who's better, the Chiefs or the Raiders?
Raiders.
Why?
Khalil Mack.
Amari Cooper.
That's
Derek
Khalil
Carr.
Mack is the most impactful player who's not a quarterback or
Right.
running back.
yeah. Okay, I can understand that.
Going
Did you-
along, going against that though, the Chiefs have 2 extremely good players in their secondary with Peters and Barry, and I think those 2 alone are comparable to Mac. Obviously, it's hard to compare because they're different positions, but those 2 together in the backfield or in the secondary for the Chiefs defense is really hard for quarterbacks to go against.
Did you guys see that the Panthers Raiders game where Khalil Mack got like 2 consecutive sacks to end the game?
Yes.
That was
He's
that
still-
is
Cam
what he
Newton
can
was
do.
about to throw a deep ball and
Right.
he just hit his arm. It was
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he pressured him almost every play.
yeah.
He's
the
a difference
So
maker.
impactful. He's the definition of difference maker. He's
Yeah.
beyond anything in the NFL. He is better than J.J. Watt. I'll say it. Khalil Mack is better
Whoa,
than J.J.
now.
Watt.
Okay,
Wow.
let's. Wow.
That-
We're getting into uncharted territory here.
that's bold.
Maybe not
but I can see
entirely
it.
inaccurate.
I can see it, but it's hard to tell without JJ Watt playing this season.
Right.
Right, and I think J.J. Watt's got a little more of the experience with him.
Yeah.
But give Mac
Well,
time.
right.
Give-
Give
Mac
Mac
time and
give
it'll
Mac a couple
blow.
years.
or put him in front of the spotlight because the Raiders haven't been in the spotlight for a while.
Yeah.
That's true.
They've
And
been
he's
in the
right
bottom
now
of the
living
NFL.
up to the spotlight that
They've
is
been in the black
slowly creeping onto the Raiders.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't say it's slowly. It's on the Raiders
Oh,
right
it's
now.
on.
Right.
They're the best of the West.
Hopefully,
so
the spotlight can get him a new stadium.
That'd be nice.
you're a fan of the move.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it sucks to. As a Browns fan, the Browns did leave Cleveland, and that was horrible. But I think it's a little bit of a different situation here because they don't want to move. Like the only reason they're going to move is because of the stadium, and
Well,
they
did the Browns want to move?
well, Art Modell didn't tell anybody; he just kind of did it overnight. But that's part of the reason why it's different. The owner, what's the owner of the Raiders' name? Does anyone know? No. Okay,
No.
it doesn't matter. He told Oakland, hey, I need a new stadium, or I'm gonna move the team. Hey, I need the new stadium, I'm gonna move a team, and they finally didn't give it to him. And then he said, okay, I'm moving the team to Vegas. So
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's fair.
Mark Davis is his name, by the way. Mark Davis is the owner.
Well, I know we already came to the consensus that Derek Carr is the front runner, and I know that the other like Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott are also in the conversation for MVP. But do you think either of them would be where they are now without their offensive line? I mean, I know both of them are.
Not at all.
That's why they're
Yeah,
so
but
good.
that's
I'm saying that's
that's
it.
hard to put into an MVP race because there's different factors,
Right.
and I think that we'll be more aware in the coming weeks who really is the standout. And if it stays close, then you have to factor in the offensive line. But for now,
Right.
I think we let that
Can
with
I-
us.
can
But
I
that's a
say
good.
something?
At this point, I think the Cowboys' offensive line is the MVP of the league, but
Sure.
since it can't go
Yeah.
to
I
a
give
group of individuals, it is Derek Carr.
Let me say something bold here.
You've already said something.
Dak Prescott, I don't want to say overrated, but he's good. He is a solid NFL quarterback. But his numbers are so inflated because he has Zeke to hand the ball off to, and because of Zeke, they stack the box every time. So he gets to throw these dump-off passes to Jason Witten / Pez Bryant / Zeke, who's the best receiving running back in the NFL. That I think if you put Dak Prescott,
Matt Forte is.
if you put Dak Prescott on a different team, let's use this as an example. Tom Brady, best QB in the NFL right now. If you put Tom Brady on the Browns right now, they are not a bad team. Tom Brady's that good. If you put Dak Prescott on the Browns right now, I don't think the Browns are good.
I'm with you on that. I agree.
with that. I agree with
100%.
that.
I mean,
Yeah.
they
Speaking of the Patriots and Tom Brady, we're going to move to our last point in NFL for the day. The Jets scare the Patriots. The Patriots emerge. Questions surrounding Brady's effort that emerges as well. People are like, okay, is Brady all in for this season? He says he is. Belichick says he is. And then suddenly the media doesn't focus on Brady and it's focused to Gronk, who just got back surgery and is out for the season. How does this affect Tom Brady's effort, and how does this affect the Patriots moving forward in a playoff spot?
I think, first off, it's important to note that the Jets and Patriots, the last 7 times they've played, it's been decided by 6 points or less.
It may have been decided by 6 points or less, but everybody knows who the better team is.
Exactly. My point being is the Jets have almost always, in recent years, played the Patriots tough, and then the Patriots have rebounded with a more or less statement win the next week. And Tom Brady will bounce back from his loss or his close encounter with the Jets to being what we know Tom Brady to be.
Well, yes, and I think you're right. I think the question surrounding the effort is just a media blow-up just to try to pin Tom Brady, because that's what everybody's out to do, pin Tom Brady. If he wins next week against the Rams, or actually this week, it's happening probably now as we're speaking, but if he wins, then he'll become the winningest quarterback in the NFL. Congratulations if he does that. I don't think his effort is going to be the question moving forward. I think that this team, and once they get into the playoffs, they go into a mode that is, it doesn't, I mean, you saw it last year. It doesn't really matter who they have, receiving-wise. There are some notable names like Amendola and Edelman, but Tom Brady will find a way to get it done. And I like what you said about Tom Brady. If he was on the Browns, they would be a successful team, and I think you're right. Tom Brady has the power to join any team and make them better based on what the quarterback he is. So the fact that effort is being talked about here, it needs to shut down, because Tom Brady always gives his effort and finds ways to win football games.
Is it safe to say Tom Brady is the LeBron James of football?
100%. Because look, if you put LeBron on any team in the NBA, he's going to take over and he's going to win them games.
Tom Brady could come back from 3 games to 1 and win.
Yeah.
He could. He could do it.
Now here's the.
But- So the let's go to the Patriots a little bit more real quick here. I think we're looking at the question that's being asked is the wrong question. It's not whether or not Tom Brady can win football games, because he obviously can. There's no question about that. The real question is how long can their playoff push go without Gronkowski? Because their record with Gronkowski is amazing. And even in the games where they've not had Gronkowski, they do pretty well. I mean, they have a pretty decent record without the Gronk. However, those are games earlier in the season without much playoff implication. And now we're getting into the point of the season where every win is more and more important, and they don't have Gronk.
They don't have Gronk, but they have a fine gentleman by the name of Martellus Bennett.
And then here we
Martellus
go. So, interesting. So, on the topic of Martellus Bennett, with the question surrounding Gronkowski's back and how healthy he's actually going to be when he's quote-unquote recovered, the Patriots are looking to sign Bennett to a more long-term deal as essentially a Gronkowski replacement.
I wouldn't say replacement yet. I think you're right with the back problems. That's going to be troublesome in the near future. But what Gronk does for Foxborough and for the Patriots is it's more than just football. He provides, like a strut for them. Yes, they have Tom Brady, and he provides a strut, and he's confidence. But Gronk is he's that party animal and the guy that just lights up the stats and is just so flagrant about it.
He's the David Ortiz of the New England Patriots.
Wow.
Except I hate the New England Patriots. So
Being a Boston fan, I don't know why, but that's okay.
That's
We'll
a hard pressed comparison.
We'll save that for a
stretch
rainy
and
day. You were talking about LeBron James
I
and
was.
Tom Brady being together. Let's move on to the NBA.
That's a nice transition.
LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers. Guess what? They're in first place in the East. Anybody
Shocker.
surprised by that? No.
they have lost 3 in a row, however.
And two bad losses.
They'll
Pretty
still
bad
cakewalk
losses.
into the
One of them
playoffs.
was against my Chicago Bulls, who recently lost to the Dallas Mavericks by 25. So good for Chicago. Dirk. In that game against Cleveland, LeBron had 27, 5 rebounds, and 13 assists. Rajon Rondo, triple-double alert, 15 points, 11 rebounds, and 12 assists. Cleveland, I don't like admitting this, but I will admit this. Cleveland is going to most likely make the finals. They will make the finals because if you have LeBron James and Kyrie Irving,
Yeah, the East is the
Kevin
LeBron
Love.
James Invitational. Kevin Love is a beast this year.
Yeah,
He's
he
a
is.
completely different player.
He's
He
played
is.
very well.
he's playing like the Kevin Love that they needed in the postseason last year. And
Well, they still won even though they didn't have him.
I know that,
But
I
now
just-
they have
and
him.
now they have him, so they're more.
2 years ago. too.
Kevin Love was impactful in the finals, Game 7. Game 7 of the finals, the Cavs do not win without Kevin Love.
Yeah.
I would
That's
agree
true.
with that
Except you guys
100%.
hated
But
him.
they
Games
don't
1
make
through
it to Game
6.
7 without Kyrie and LeBron
No.
dropping
Yeah,
40.
but Kyrie
that's
played out of this world.
I love Kyrie, but it is a stretch to call him the best point guard in the NBA.
I
He
would
might.
agree.
Chris Paul.
I think he is the best scoring point guard. Scoring ability point guard.
I think Damian Lillard is.
Lillard.
Dame.
I would say it.
Dame
I think
Dollar.
Dame Dollar is the best.
I don't. I
Who
think
would you say?
No,
Kyrie won
scoring.
Steph 2. Pure
You
scoring.
just said Steph wasn't the. Oh, never
Just scoring.
Scoring.
Chris Paul is the best all-around point guard in the game.
Okay. I will agree to that.
Best forge I know.
I'll say I think Curry can score unbelievable buckets, but Dame Dollar is something else.
Different on levels the Lord allows. That's what
Talking
Dallas-
about
that's
talking
what
about
Dallas
point
says.
guards here. Nobody has mentioned Russell Westbrook.
Brody.
You mean Mr. Turnover?
I mean,
No, stop.
no,
Do not do that.
no.
Mr.
Mr.
Triple Double.
Quadruple
I would
This
like
guy
to.
is- all right.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Finish
Finish
turnovers?
I think if you're gonna talk about the best point guard in the NBA, at least this season,
Oh, hands down.
I don't
think,
even think it's a.
Now,
Yeah, but
you guys may not agree with this, but I'm going to say it, and I truly believe this. Russell Westbrook is the most valuable player in the NBA.
Yes.
Look at who
Yes,
is
no,
on
it's-
his team.
It's
He has
not-
he has Steven Adams.
It's a Kings game.
yeah.
He has Victor Oladipo,
you-
but the scoring options is Russell Westbrook. What he does for the Oklahoma City Thunder is fantastic. I'm going to say that without Russell Westbrook, that team is like an 8 seed or a 7 seed because
I don't think they make the playoffs.
I don't think they
They
make
don't
the
make
playoffs.
the
without
playoffs.
or they
Russell
don't make the
Westbrook. I
playoffs.
don't think
Even
they make the
better.
playoffs.
They might
But
not make the
without
playoffs with
LeBron, Cleveland would still be a 5 or a
Right.
6.
Yeah, I truthfully think I don't think without LeBron the Cavs would be the favorite to win the East.
No.
No, they will.
Absolutely not.
But
No.
they could still win the East without LeBron.
Mhm.
Right.
But I still think LeBron's the most valuable player in the NBA, and it's not even close.
I agree
I'm
with
saying
that.
this season so far,
It's
stats
Russell
wise.
Westbrook.
Wait,
West-
James Harden has to be.
Yeah,
Well,
let's,
he's had
let's
it
not
for
forget
years.
about the beard here.
Right.
No, I might be a little bit biased.
Beard.
You got to respect the beard.
Look, I think James Harden and Russell Westbrook are both extremely.
What's the word?
Well, they're both really good, so I don't want to use overrated. But inefficient, maybe. Need ball in hand, maybe.
Well, who else do you want to give the ball to? In the
Well,
Steven
like,
Adams.
No, no. No, hold
Let's
on.
not forget about Oladipo.
The Rockets have pieces here. They have Trevor Ariza. They have a a big guy who can shoot threes in Ryan Anderson.
He's a big guy.
Clint Capella has been playing super well. I mean, to the point where at the end of the last year, the Rockets wanted Dwight Howard to come off the bench so that Clint Capella could get more minutes. And that was part of the reason why Dwight Howard was like, all right, see ya, I'm going to Atlanta. But the Rockets have something stirring. And I think moving forward, Houston right now is in 4th place. They're 13-7. At home, they're 4-2.
It's huge.
I can see the Rockets squeaking in. You know, the LA Clippers. I would like to say something real quick about the Clippers. The Clippers are a regular season team. They're like the Dodgers.
Oh,
of the
absolutely.
NBA.
Definitely.
They're
That's-
super good in the regular season.
Welcome
by
to
the-
Los Angeles.
and
sports.
when they get to the playoffs,
Right.
see ya. But
That's so true.
Golden State's going to run the West. Everybody knows that. Cleveland's going to run the East. But I'd like to look at the people right behind them in the Eastern Conference. Toronto's the 2 seed right now, 14-6. Boston is the 3 seed. They're 12-8.
Hey.
Chicago's the 4 seed. They're 11-8 after the horrific loss to the Mavericks. Milwaukee with
Can
Giannis.
I want to say something about
Villanova.
Milwaukee. I think Milwaukee, out of any team in the East, has the best chance of knocking off the Cavs.
They're
Just because of that matchup. They are so big and so quick. They playing, Lord, give me strength to say his name, Giannis Antetokounmpo at the point.
Giannis Antetokounmpo, but
Jabari Parker. I mean,
Kyrie can't guard him. He's 6'40".
LeBron can't even. I mean, let's
Yeah,
be real here. You can't guard Giannis.
Yeah, he
You
gets
can hope to
coast to
slow
coast in
him.
4 steps. So,
And
yeah,
if
but
he's
so
a-
can Lil Brody. Russell Westbrook could do that too.
Lil Brody.
That's
yeah,
his
but
name.
then Westbrook tries to go up for a huge dunk and will bounce it off the back rim.
Yeah, but
True.
sometime when that does happen, the place goes
It's
crazy.
intimidating.
Bottom of the East right now, well, way bottom of the East is the 76ers. But the 76ers,
Trust the process.
They're gonna be
They-
disgusting. in a
Joel
couple of
Embiid
years.
is disgusting. What's the guy? Dario
Saric.
Saric. He just crossed
Dude,
Jonas Jerebko.
They have a superstar coming. Ben Simmons.
Oh.
Yeah.
He is
Yeah.
coming. What's that Bible verse where it's like, he is coming?
He is coming.
Yeah, that one.
Oh, that one.
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
Brooklyn's at the bottom with Washington. I'm surprised in Washington. Bradley Beal is a scorer and John Wall is a facilitator. But that team, they just have nothing
Yeah,
other than that.
Yeah.
and they've committed so much money to those two that this is their place. This is where they'll
Yeah,
be for the next
exactly.
6 years.
Another
But they
team,
won't have any pieces around them because
Yeah, they'll
they're
be in the
eating up
bottom.
all the cap space. So
another
better
team
get
I'm
used to this
surprised with, the New York Knicks.
The super team, D Rose, Porzingis,
10-9 on the season. At
They should've
home
been
at MSG, they're
They will be
8-3. This team's a potential threat.
You know, I think they might end up at the 3 to 4 range.
I
They're too
think
talented.
they have the pieces
They're
to
talented.
make a legitimate.
Well,
They're-
if you look at the Cavs when LeBron first came back at the All-Star break, what were the Cavs? The Cavs weren't at first.
They started 19 and 20, so they were not good.
Exactly.
So
They started 19 and 20, and then what'd they do?
They got
I think they in games where Love, Irving, and James played, they lost like 4 games in the second half.
There you go. So, who knows? Maybe instead of Love, James, and Irving,
Stop.
it can be Rose, Porzingis, and
Stay mellow.
and Melo.
Porzingis is good.
Forget about Joaquin.
Joaquin, are you?
Joakim Noah, defensive threat, can't score. That's okay.
His free throws are-
You know who
watching him
can't-
try to shoot. is
You know
fun,
who
though.
can score though?
Brandon Jennings.
Kemba Walker.
Oh man.
Charlotte's 11-9.
Party at Kemba.
I mean, Jordan goes to their game, so that's gotta help. But
Unless he's got his
Unless
crying,
it's
crying
crying
Jordan face.
no,
But Kemba Walker,
Kemba
He's
Walker
nasty.
is nasty.
he's dirty.
He's got a jump shot out of this world. He's got Charlotte at
Step
6
back,
in the
that's
Eastern
insane.
Conference right now. Moving forward, I could see them surpassing a Chicago team who, when they, I love my Bulls, but when they go cold, they go
Yeah,
freezing.
the thing about Chicago
20
is
long.
the NBA is turned into a jump shooting league, and Chicago has
No.
approximately 0 jump shooters. I think they're 30th in attempts and 27th in percentage.
Though,
Yeah.
wasn't it something like Dwayne Wade has already hit more
Threes than he
threes
did.
than he did
Yeah.
all of last
Yeah.
year, and it's what, game 20?
Yeah, but look, they have Jimmy Butler, who's mid-range all day. They have Dwayne Wade, who is drive and score layups and ones. and then they have Rondo, who's just a
He can
facilitator
pass.
and can hit a floater every now and then.
He was hitting threes against the Cavs.
Here's an interesting thing I'm wondering about Chicago, though, is if Dwayne Wade can stay healthy, they'll win some basketball games.
Yeah, but look
But
they didn't have Dwayne Wade against the Mavericks. He decided to stay home from the trip. I think the Bulls play 5 games. They have a road trip, and look with Jimmy Butler and Rajon Rondo, they got beat by the Dallas Mavericks,
Dirk.
who is last in the Western Conference at 4-15. They're almost as equal to
Harrison
Phil.
Barnes contract paid out.
Yeah, I follow some Mavericks guys on Twitter, not the
Cuban.
players, the fans. I do follow Mark Cuban. Good follow, strongly recommend. But I follow some Maverick fans on Twitter, and they seriously thought they had a chance this year. They saw Bogut's production in Golden State, Barnes' production in Golden State. They thought Seth Curry was gonna develop a little bit, but
Give him time. Give him
Yeah,
time.
lessons from his
So,
brother.
but here's the problem with looking at players who played on a power team like Golden State. The role players' impact is vastly outweighed because
Right,
you have to spend so much defense trying to stop.
On Steph Curry,
Steph
Klay
Curry,
Thompson.
Barnes
Klay
was like
Thompson.
the 5th option.
So Bogut,
Draymond.
right? So you get Barnes and Bogut who can
Don't.
basically score at will because nobody's guarding them because they don't have anyone to guard.
Yeah. Plus, I'm shocked Barnes got that contract after his finals performance.
Oh my
He
God!
was god awful.
Brick
cares?
City.
He was, but
Why did he keep shooting?
I don't
I
know.
know.
And I think going off of what Witt says, when you don't have that facilitator and that star player to create baskets, there's nothing. So the Harrison Barnes and the Andrew Boguts are just completely useless in
Right,
this
I-
scenario because who they have Wesley Matthews.
Right.
He can hit threes and he's a decent shooting guard, but they don't have a Steph Curry. They don't
Yeah.
have a Klay Thompson.
I mean, any team that plays the Mavericks now can essentially just guard the star player,
Except for the
quote, unquote.
Chicago Bulls.
Unless you're the Chicago Bulls, in which case I don't know
Don't
what
play
happened.
defense or something.
Yeah.
Dirk.
I would like to talk about some individual performers in the NBA. The Brow.
He's good.
This guy.
Dude.
This guy joined company with I don't even remember who it was. He's scored 45 points and that was Karl Anthony Towns. Karl Anthony Towns joined Anthony Davis and I think Boogie Cousins as the only players to open up a season as a center, averaging 36 plus points and 12 plus rebounds. So the Brow has no help on New Orleans. They're 7-13, but he's an MVP candidate. You have to put
Leading
him
the
there.
league in scoring.
Let's be real here. It's Anthony Davis has 7 wins. The Pelicans have 13 losses.
Right.
Yeah.
Can I want to spitball a potential
Oh, please.
a dream situation for
Right.
Anthony Davis
Yeah.
here. I think
The Celtics.
no. Well, that would be a nice fit too. Not where I was going, but that would be a nice fit. I was thinking if they could, unlikely, but if they could find a way to trade for Russell Westbrook, I
Oh.
think that could be a match made in heaven.
I feel like
Well, that could be interesting.
Well, that's
interesting is one word.
Maybe
Magical,
impossible.
interesting.
Hey, if only the Thunder could trade for Durant, Harden, and who's the other one they had?
Oladipo.
No, they have Oladipo.
They had who I was never mind.
I know what you were gonna say.
They have Durant. They had Durant, Harden, Westbrook. They could have Oladipo and Adams. That could be the best starting 5 the NBA's ever
the
seen.
NBA has ever seen.
ever seen.
Ever seen.
Also talking about another dominant center. Well, actually, 2 of them. Sacramento has Boogie Cousins.
Right.
He should get traded.
I think he's going to get traded at
Boston
this point.
is a good fit.
There's been
I think-
Even
talk
though
about that forever.
they got Horford now.
They have Horford, but can you imagine Horford and Boogie Cousins down low for a young Celtics team that has explosive guards?
That'd be
Scary
scary.
Bradley's explosive.
Well,
Isaiah Thomas just dropped 37. So.
Isaiah Thomas is definitely explosive. He's I struggle to put Isaiah in my top 10 for point guards though. Not due to his performance, just because of how good other point guards are.
Yeah.
That's fair. Give him a couple years.
I'd say I'm gonna go ahead and talk about Utah before we start to wrap things up here in the NBA. Utah got Gordon Hayward back. He was out for the first I don't know how many games of the season with an injury, but he's back and he's scoring buckets for the Jazz. They find themselves in the 7 seed right now at 12-9. They have some good pieces that they can use. He had 32 against Denver, 4 rebounds, no assists. But moving forward, Utah's a team that could. I don't know. I'd like to see a Utah and San Antonio Spurs matchup in the playoffs. I think that'd be interesting. I don't think Utah would win, but I think it'd be interesting. Utah's a young team. Moving forward in a few years, they could do something. What do you guys think?
When was the last time Utah was actually relevant?
Probably,
Malone and Stockton?
yeah, probably the 90s.
Yeah.
That's a joke. They're the most boring organization in basketball.
Well,
at least when other teams are bad.
I just think that Gordon Hayward is still trying to forget the memory of missing the half-court shot.
What if?
In the
Wow.
NCAA championship, so
Wow.
he's just going to keep scoring until he feels better.
I don't know if you can't feel better after coming that close, though.
Oh, I think you could feel better if you made it.
But he can't, so he's just going to keep scoring for Utah.
For Utah.
I
I
mean,
mean,
he's going to
Win a
drop
title
buckets,
for Utah.
which is a little bit insane. But
that's...
Yeah. Another team that bores me is the Nuggets.
Yeah, they don't have
They're
much
irrelevant.
work.
They're in the stage of
They were fun to-
mediocrity like the Rams.
Yeah,
That's just
exactly.
You know,
8, 9, and 7.
You know who's fun to watch this year is the Lakers.
The Lakers are
The
very
young
fun to watch.
Lakers.
Swaggy P. D. Loading. They're fun to watch.
They're
They
very
are.
fun to watch. They play
Julius
with
Randle
energy.
is
He's
a
fun to watch too.
Julius Randle's a man, and he's
Me.
going. That Lakers team is going to develop into. I'm not going to say a
Don't
Kobe
say it.
and Shaq, but
no.
they're going to be a couple tiers down from that. But that team's going to be good in a few years.
I
So
know
watch out.
Sign a big
this
free
might sound
agent.
crazy, but they might be better off if one of their young players gets hurt. So they don't do as well this year. So they get a better pick to get one more player.
Well, D'Angelo Russell's hurt right now.
Yeah, I know, but one more. One more. Like if
All right,
he stays
Swaggy P, we're looking at you.
Yeah.
Well, Swaggy
Take
P's
one for
not.
the team.
Swaggy P's not young. But if they could get another top 5 pick, then you have
Trade up for
Russell, Randall, Ingram, and then that guy. That's a damn good core.
That guy.
The Lakers could be very good.
Yeah.
I think
they
will
will
be
be
very
very good.
Yeah.
They're
But give them time.
Yeah, give him
And the thing
year
is,
or 2 years.
Let
Lakers
their
fans are
young
not
core-
patient because they were like, Kobe's gone. We need to start rebuilding. Why aren't we winning games?
They
'Cause you
just
have
need to
rebuild.
trust the process. So
They do. They need to trust the process, much like the fans in Philly are. We're going to transition away from the NBA, but I'm just having last-minute thoughts here. I want you to pick one team that is going to potentially go on a run in the near future and surprise viewers in the NBA. So
Memphis Grizzlies.
why?
Marc Gasol, best center in the NBA.
Bold. I like it. Wit.
Boston Celtics. Isaiah Thomas found his sweet spot. He's
I
going.
I think Boston too. Isaiah Thomas is playing really well right now.
It's a toss-up for me between Utah. Quite honestly, no. Listen, hear me out.
Go ahead.
They're all right. They don't. I don't think that they have any standout players, but I think they're such a solid overall team that I think that they could just, with the core that they have, I think they're a decent,
They could grow.
enough team where
Yeah.
they could.
The way to win NBA games is to have mediocre talent. That's what I heard.
That's what the Browns are doing in the NFL.
Hold on. We can't compare anyone to the Browns.
I don't
We're
know
not-
if
we're
they're
not
that
going there.
mediocre.
Not go back
There's
there.
a
Yeah.
bag of dirt. in the
Salmon,
yard.
give me a team moving forward.
Without a doubt, the New York Knickerbockers.
Oh wait, I would like to change mine to Milwaukee Bucks.
You just like them because they have Delhi. But the Knicks, what are the Knicks? The Knicks are like 8-3 at home. If they can figure out to play with some of that intensity on the road, they could be dangerous. And they have Melo, D Rose, and Porzingis is filthy, so they have a chance to go on to get it
Okay.
hot.
I could see that.
That's fair.
My team moving forward, I'm gonna have to go with Memphis. I'm gonna have to agree with you on that one. I think that Marc Gasol is a stud, and they're fifth in the Western Conference right now. They're 7-4 at home. Memphis is kind of a sleeper team. Is Randolph on the bench now?
Yeah.
Zach Randolph is on the bench.
Zebo?
Big Zebo. They have Marc Gasol. Oh, by the way, Marc Gasol's celebration after hitting the game winner, where he did the
McGregor?
the Conor McGregor. That was
McGregor.
awesome.
Just to touch on something funny. I've always liked Zach Randolph because I was watching this Celebrities Read Mean Tweets, and there was the one that was like, Zach Randolph isn't so much in basketball shape as he is a basketball shape.
Yeah, I remember that. That was good. I remember that one.
That's fair.
I like it. I like it. That's all for the NBA. Of course, it's the beginning of the season. Plenty more to be coming up. Excited for.
I'm actually gonna add one more thing to our NBA talk before we leave.
Okay.
I'd like to change my pick.
I stand by the Boston Celtics.
Zach, go ahead.
Give me Al
Do you
Horford any
guys
day.
do you guys think we'll see a third straight
Yes.
Golden State Cleveland matchup?
Yes.
Yeah.
Who do you think it goes to?
No,
Cleveland.
I'm not. I refuse to talk about this right now.
It is hard to bet against LeBron James.
It's hard to bet against LeBron James, but it's also hard to bet against Kevin Durant
That's
and
true.
Klay
That's true.
Thompson
And
and
Steph
Steph
Curry.
Curry
Their
and
lineup is-
Draymond Green.
and
Is
Andre
it? Do you think
Iguodala.
it's one of the best offenses ever? Do you think we put it in that category
Okay.
yet, or I
Yes.
mean, because
Yes, but I don't want to
ridiculous.
talk
We're
about
getting
all.
we're getting into dangerous
I don't
territory.
want to talk about all time because
It's
the
early,
NBA
it's
as a
early.
league has changed
It's- yeah,
dramatically.
yeah, you're
like
right.
in the '90s, I wouldn't even say.
Yeah.
Right.
We're not
Yeah,
going to
let's-
talk
let's-
about that.
right.
Good question. Save it for
Okay.
later.
Yeah,
and it's still
definitely a
early
later
in the
topic.
season. We
Right.
can't tell as much
We
as
haven't, yeah.
we will be able
All
to.
right,
Yeah.
that's all for NBA. We're going to move on to some puck action,
Little chill.
a little NHL action. Eastern Conference standings right now, the top three, Montreal, Ottawa, and Boston. That's in the Atlantic
That's in the
division.
Atlantic within the East. Yeah.
That's a great division. The Canadians are the best team in the NHL right
Yeah.
now.
We also have Carey Price, who's incredible in net
Right.
between
He
the
is.
pipes.
Between the pipes. It's hard to score on that, man. We have more of our hockey intelligence section is to the left of me in Casey and Jack. So I'm going to basically hand the reins over to them. Talking about the Eastern Conference, what are your standout teams right now in the East?
For me, I'm gonna go with the Rangers. They're leading the Metropolitan right now, and something about them, they have the highest goal differential in the NHL. They're plus 30, so I mean they're scoring tons of goals, and they have Henrik Lundqvist in net, and I mean he's amazing every year, and I mean outscoring their opponents by 30 points this year is something special. So they have a high-powered offense. That's definitely one of the more powerful teams in the East.
I mean, if you're gonna bring goal differential into this, I hate to do this around Powers, but we got to bring Columbus. I mean, plus 21 goal differential. They've got 32 points right now, sitting at 4th in the Eastern Conference. They're a solid team. When you think about the pieces that they have,
I just
forward.
think Columbus is a dangerous team.
You're
Shut
just
up.
Cleveland biased.
Shut up.
Now,
Get
here's
outta
something about Cleveland, to harp on them even more. They have
Cleveland?
not Cleveland, Columbus. Sorry,
That's
they
what
have
it does to you.
they have the fewest regulation losses in the NHL. They
Right.
only have 5 regulation losses. I mean, they have 4 overtime losses, but 5 losses
Still
in
get points,
regulation
though, so, I mean,
Yeah. you get
is
a point.
pretty impressive. I mean, they're playing very good hockey. Let's not forget they beat Montreal 10-1 earlier this year,
Right.
and Montreal is the best team in the Atlantic. So you definitely can't overlook Cleveland. Not Cleveland, Columbus. Jackson,
It's the Cleveland curse. I'd also like to touch on a team in the Eastern Conference, the Penguins. Anytime you have Sid the Kid on your team, you're
I
going to be
mean,
dangerous.
Sid
And
is-
Hornquist, too.
Every single year we talk, when is Sidney Crosby going to slow down? It's just,
It doesn't
it doesn't happen. He's
Ovechkin's
he's
kind of been
so-
quiet this year.
right.
But you can't bet against Ovechkin. That's a guy who can put up a hat trick, once a game he
If
can
he
get
wants,
hot real quick on that power play. He just sets up and just rips one-timers.
Yeah.
You can't
He
bet
sets up
against.
in the. It's unbelievable.
But
to
right
me.
now, Sidney Crosby, Crosby's on track. I would say he's on track to be the MVP to win the Hart. I mean, he's leading the league in scoring, I think, or he might be. Right
He has
behind.
the most goals. He has
Yeah.
16 goals. He's leading the league.
He's playing
Yeah.
incredible hockey, and especially coming on in a title defense.
right.
He's playing incredible hockey. He could be dangerous for a while now. So
I mean, talking about MVP candidates, you got to talk about Connor McDavid.
Connor
I mean-
McNasty.
Oh, he's been unbelievable
The-
this year.
Yeah.
And he's made the Oilers a relevant team.
Yeah, they are. They're,
I never thought, as a hockey fan, I never thought I would see the day where the Edmonton Oilers would be.
well,
I mean, they're 4th in the West right now.
second in the Pacific.
But for me, it's like it's about time with the young players that they have. I mean, how many years in a row have they had except for last year, of course, but how many years in a row did they have the number 1 overall pick? Was it 4 years
I
in a
don't
row?
know, but
Or something
it's-
like that?
they kept drafting forwards, and they just
Right.
and you're kind of waiting for the Edmonton oil spill
Yeah.
to happen.
Exactly.
Right.
And it did, and now here comes McDavid to clean things up.
Right.
And they're playing very good hockey right now. It's going to be interesting moving forward to see. My Blackhawks are in first place right now in
That's
the
right.
West.
That's right.
Blackhawk
Blackhawks have been playing
down.
very
Corey Crawford's going to be out for a couple weeks.
well. That's the thing that's so good about the about Chicago is they have I think that Darling, he could be a number one goaltender on almost any other team.
Almost any team. I love it. He's great to have.
Yeah.
Actually, the game they just got spanked by Philly 3-1.
Right.
But
They got the hands
for
down,
for that game, Crawford was scheduled to start in goal, and Darling was supposed to be backup.
Mm-hmm.
But Crawford got a sickness, and I think he had an appendectomy. I don't remember what it was. Anyway, he's out for a few weeks because of whatever procedure he had. And they didn't have a backup goalie, so they signed an amateur,
I saw
a
this.
23-year-old
Mhm.
goaltender that day just to come in
Yeah.
and be the backup.
Right.
And the guy was like, "Oh my gosh, this is the best moment of my life." He didn't play, but that's still awesome.
Right.
They did give up Teuvo Teravainen to the Isles in the off season. They got rid of the heart and the fire of Chicago, Andrew Shaw.
Right.
But moving forward, this is a team. They still have Patrick Kane. They still have Johnny Taves.
Anytime you have those two,
And Panarin. Panarin won Rookie of the
Panarin,
Year.
that's right.
About Panarin.
The kid's a
He's
freak.
filthy.
Yeah.
Speaking of Rookie of the Year, let's move up while in the West. Let's talk about the man from the Jets, the 18-year-old Finnish phenom.
He is. He's
Patrick Laine.
He's unbelievable.
He's played 27 games and has 16 goals. I believe he's second in scoring, or right around
he's
second.
tied. I believe he's tied for first. With
Right, but I think
Crosby.
but Crosby's played like 3 or 4 less games.
Right.
But I mean, he is having an incredible year.
Jets are a fun team to watch. They may not be, a relevant team in the West, but they're still a fun team to watch.
And this kid, he's 18 years old, and he's leading the league in scoring.
I love how everybody, when the Maple Leafs started off, and Austin Matthews,
4 goals.
had the 4 goals, everybody's like, "Whoa, Maple Leafs!" And now
Right.
they're tanking and
Yeah.
they're not going anywhere. I'd like to talk about a few teams that have dropped off, and I hate to say this to you, but the Islanders were in the wild card last year, and now they just find themselves in the bottom of the Metropolitan Division.
So here's what I have to say about that. The last year, you could argue that the Islanders were one of the deepest. They had one of the deepest hockey teams. That fourth line, undoubtedly the best fourth line in hockey.
I 100%
I mean, Matt Martin. When that line came out onto the ice, they're not necessarily looking to score. They're gonna beat the crap out of you.
Yeah,
I mean,
they're going to beat
and
you
that-
down physically and emotionally.
And the amount that intimidates the other teams. I mean, every time they came onto the ice, I know from going to games, the crowd is just.
They know. It's okay, here they come. Brace yourselves because it's about to happen.
The noise level goes up. The intensity goes up. They bring. I mean, that's everything that hockey should be, I think. And when you break up the band like that,
Yeah.
I mean, Martin's gone. Franz Nielsen, who is a guy who's been with the Islanders forever, and then Kyle Oposo, they lose to the Sabres. It's like Oposo is such a good passer, and he was one of the reasons Tavares was able to score so many. I mean, Tavares is unbelievable.
Johnny T.
But you can't give Tavares wouldn't clearly he's not where he is without Kyle Oposo.
Yeah, I agree. So that's out of the Eastern Conference, kind of a disappointing team.
Right.
Hate to say it, Case, but it's true.
No, it's true.
I'm going to talk about the Western Conference. People thought that the Dallas Stars were going to be in first place at this point in the season.
Right.
They're 5th in the Central Division. They're behind the Predators, who's they're streaky.
Right.
They're behind the Wild, all-around sound hockey team. Great defensively. The Blues, Tarasenko, he's a
Blues
stud.
are playing
Blues
very
are
well.
terrific team.
They're like 7-2-1
San
in their
Jose,
last 10
I mean,
or something.
yeah,
But
those
they
two.
have the Stars have Sagan. They have
They
Ben.
have Jamie
Ben.
Ben.
What is this
I
team
think
missing?
It's goaltending.
Yeah.
I think that's what they're missing. I mean, you see teams that have good goaltending. I mean,
Ripping on Antiniemi.
I mean, not necessarily, but it's like that's why Chicago's in first place. That's a big reason why Chicago's in first place.
Montreal. They got
Carey Price.
Rangers. They have
Henrik Lundqvist. I mean, you can't. That
goaltending's huge.
yeah.
Yeah, it is. I think that's the difference maker, and I think it will continue to
Right.
be. I think last year the story was defense.
Defense
in NHL was
Yep.
the story was defense.
Yep.
And you saw teams prevail, and Philly.
Yeah,
Or not
I agree.
Philly, but Pittsburgh had a fantastic defense.
Oh.
They won the cup.
Yeah, Murray and net.
And the
Rookie.
Sharks too. Sharks have a fantastic defense. By the way, Burns signed to
Burnsy.
an 8-year contract, so he'll be staying
Money well spent.
in San Jose. He's a good guy.
Definitely. He's a
Everybody
great character.
everybody loves him down in San Jose.
Yeah. Terrific player too. I mean,
Terrific beard while we're on the
unbelievable.
topic.
Yeah,
The man bun and the beard.
I mean Whit may have a good beard, but Brent Burns is something
It's
else.
such a shame.
Yeah.
Give me a couple weeks.
That's going to be pretty much all for our NHL segment. Moving forward, we're going to be talking about some football. Football. Kind of a crazy weekend. El Clasico was the headline.
That is one of the biggest sporting
Luis
events of the
Suarez,
year.
I'm wearing his jersey right now.
The biter.
He scored a big goal, 1-0. It was all Barcelona until Sergio Ramos comes in with a diving. Well, I wouldn't say it was a diving header.
It was a booming header.
It was a booming header. Got past Verstegen, and next thing you know, 1-1. The game ends. Disappointment all around.
I gotta say something about this. Soccer has in my opinion, best overtime besides college football. Why do they not use it? Why do they still end games in ties? It frustrates me beyond belief.
You're saying you want penalty kicks?
I hate ties. You don't play a game to tie.
I don't like
You
ties
don't think
either.
shootouts
but-
and stuff are all,
Shootouts are cool too.
Right.
Shootouts are cool too. I think PKs are a little higher up.
Yeah, but then you throw in aggregate points, and you can still go higher up in the standings even if you have a draw.
right.
Speaking of moving up in the standings, by the way, my boys in blue, Chelsea, taking over the top of the table with a 3-1 victory.
City.
Take that, Man City.
Um,
And Liverpool with an awful collapse.
unbelievable.
That was insane.
AFC Bournemouth, the Cherries went on and defeated Liverpool today. Jurgen Klopp's side was up a convincing 3-1 at one point, and they collapsed. Liverpool's still only 3 points out of the lead behind Chelsea.
Wait, you're saying they
Yeah.
blew a 3-1 lead?
Stop.
Oh, don't go there yet.
This has been a Premier League season that has been crazy. And the preseason polls said that my boys, Manchester United, were destined to win the
They
title.
should. Oh, they should.
They
be so
signed
much better.
in the offseason. They got Henrik Mkhitaryan. They got Zlatan Ibrahimovic
King
and Paul
Zlatan.
and they got Paul Pogba. This team should be complete.
And they have De Gea in net.
De Gea's a world-class goalkeeper. Jose Mourinho is a fantastic manager, but they just haven't been able to piece things together. This morning, they were up against Everton at Goodison Park, 1-0. Fellaini,
Crazy hair.
yeah, Fellaini gets a penalty. Next thing you know, Bain smashes home the equalizer, and they go away with another disappointing draw. They're 6th place in the Premier League right now. Manchester United fans are obviously hacked off. If anybody knows Premier League, they're going to know that Manchester United fans are pissed off beyond belief.
Minged off.
Moving forward, these are the top 5 right now. Chelsea is in first place.
Woo!
Next up is Arsenal. They're 3 points behind. Then Liverpool. Then Man City. Then Tottenham. The Spurs are
Harry
at
Kane.
they're at a quiet 5 right now, only separated by Chelsea by 7 points. There's a close race moving forward. Harry Kane and Tottenham had a fantastic game on Saturday. Arsenal absolutely blew away the Hammers at the Olympic Stadium.
Yeah.
And Chelsea with a very convincing win over Pep Guardiola's squad in Manchester City. Diego Costa is the MVP of Chelsea so far. I don't know if you would agree with.
You know who's playing well for Chelsea this year is Hazard.
Yeah, Eden Hazard was absent last year.
Last year was.
Yeah. So,
Also, the fact that Leicester City is what won the title, I mean, everybody knows, well, not everybody knows this, but the chances of Elvis being found alive were higher. The odds for that were higher than Leicester winning the title, and they did. Leicester find themselves in 15th place.
Yeah, well,
They have 13 points.
that's more par for the course, I think. I mean, that was an outlying season for Leicester City last year, and to go with Hazard having a good year, I think Costa's ability to be the playmaker for that team is strongly correlated with Hazard's ability to distribute in the middle for that Chelsea team. If Hazard plays well, Costa plays well.
Well, yeah, and they have key pieces like Willian, and these guys are going to create goal-scoring opportunities, and Chelsea has seized them, and that's why they're first place. I'd like to talk about the third-place team, Liverpool. Without Philippe Coutinho, moving forward, I was listening to a Men in Blazers podcast, and Arlo White was talking, and he said that without Coutinho, the team just sort of seems to be dead, and I think we saw that today with the loss against Bournemouth. The scoring ability is there. They have Milner. He's been scoring goals as of late.
Henderson scores.
Yeah, and they have guys like Lallana, who's young and Sadio Mane. But moving forward without Coutinho, their leader and their main goal scorer, I think it's going to be interesting to see if Jurgen Klopp's side can keep playing the way they did in the first 13 match weeks.
Yeah, you're going to need guys like Firmino to step up and score some goals in his absence. So we'll see how it plays out.
I think that's going to be all for soccer. We don't have the greatest knowledge of the football, but moving forward, we're going to be paying attention to it and mentioning it in our podcasts. Now we arrive at what we want to talk about most, and what's been clouding the sport world for the past week and a half now, and that's the college football playoff. Ohio State Michigan was one of the best. I think the best college football game I've ever watched.
That was
2
absolutely
overtimes.
incredible.
Jack already mentioned it. JT Barrett with the first down.
That maybe wasn't. That technically was a first down, but maybe wasn't.
Right.
It was a first down.
Well, officially yes. Unofficially,
Yes.
that remains to be seen. Let's start off a little. Let's start off a little bit easy. Let's look at some impact players
in college football.
Right now.
Go ahead.
So, I think making his last case, really for the Heisman Trophy, Deshaun Watson
Right.
No,
went off.
I don't
Great
think he's
game.
going to win it.
I don't think he'll win it. I think you're right. I don't think he'll get it. But he made his last case, and it was a pretty good one.
I agree.
How many touchdowns did Lamar Jackson score this year?
got to be Lamar Jackson.
After getting blown out at
Which-
home to Kentucky.
I don't.
He
Yeah.
didn't get blown out.
Oh, they let up.
Okay, but so here's the thing with
48,
Lamar
45.
Jackson. He'll have like the game against Kentucky where he might throw for 4 touchdowns and run for 1, but he threw 4 picks.
Right.
He's just like he was
Which-
the most dominant player in recent memory.
But didn't he have 20 touchdowns rushing and 20 touchdowns throwing?
Wouldn't
Oh,
shock me if it was 50
at-
touchdowns
at-
passing, 50
at least.
touchdowns throwing.
At least. Yeah, and then so if we look, Deshaun Watson, great game for Clemson. I mean, he was the jump starter in that offense, led the team in passing and rushing. And they said at the beginning of the game that if Clemson was going to win that football game, Watson needed to be more impactful in the run game, and he most definitely was.
Is Clemson the most overrated team to make the college playoff this year?
Well, hold on. Let's
Washington.
let's first tell the listeners. My guess is they already know, but the 4 teams are Washington,
In the
Ohio
fourth spot.
State.
Ohio State, Clemson, and Alabama.
That's
Bama is
correct.
obviously the
No
most
need to discuss
dominant.
Bama.
Yep.
Everybody knows
It's a
that.
battle
earned
for
their
second.
place.
Ohio State earned their spot. I think people are saying that Penn State should have gotten in because they won the Big Ten championship, and I think it's time that college football fans need to face reality and understand that conference championships don't mean anything anymore.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. The only reason that Penn State got to play in the conference championship is because Ohio State beat a Michigan team that beat Penn State 49-10.
Yes.
So and
Yeah,
Penn
ugly
State had
game.
2 losses. Ohio State had 1. Penn State is a 2-loss team. Every other team in the playoff is a 1-loss team. So I do not see any point on how you can put Penn State in.
No, it's
They
also
were 40th in strength of schedule. So people like to say, "Oh, they played tougher teams than Washington." No, they didn't. Washington was 55th. Penn State was 40th. That is not a huge gap.
It's not. And, Washington had the better record.
Yeah.
I think that when you asked if Clemson's the most overrated, I would say yes, because they have a strong offense,
Their
but besides an
defense
offense,
can't stop
they
anyone.
they gave up 38 points to a Virginia Tech team.
35.
The Hokies.
35 points
35?
to VT. Yeah, and if Deshaun Watson doesn't command the run game like that and score 2 touchdowns on the ground, then it's an entirely different ballgame. But he was the best player on the football field by leaps and bounds in that ACC game.
Yeah.
And that is why Clemson won. That won't translate into the college football playoff the same way. One more impact player that we have to mention because they won. Penn State's quarterback, McSorley.
He looked
Yeah,
like an NFL
he
quarterback.
had
4
a
touchdowns.
the wizard.
384 yards. 22 of 31. 4 touchdowns.
What a comeback.
That was insane. And Saquon Barkley with his 19 carries for 83 and a clutch touchdown. Man alive.
Yeah.
They looked like a good football team.
Yeah, I mean the passes he was making were, his accuracy was just.
It was just a
He
good
had-
game. Both games were good.
Was anybody else shocked that on the 4th and 1 play, Wisconsin ran the ball?
yeah.
I don't think
It makes
because
sense,
I feel
but-
like Wisconsin has had for a while now a line of running backs that have been they fall
Pass the baton.
forward for like 2 or 3 yards. They've had Melvin Gordon. Yep.
They have Howard on the Bears. Was that?
No, I don't think that was.
that Indiana?
I don't know. I think it was Indiana. Then they had Melvin Gordon. What was the other one?
Oh,
My goodness. Monte Ball.
Yep.
He came from Wisconsin. Melvin Gordon, Monte Ball. Those are 2 of the most notable ones. But
yeah.
And they were having success running the whole game. In that first half, they were running the ball.
well, that just seems to be the title of the Big Ten.
Yeah.
Aside from
I think the Big Ten is the best conference in football. Alabama is the clear best team, but come on, 3 of the top 6 teams are from the Big Ten.
Right.
yeah, that I
Yeah,
know, but
and it's
also
hard to argue that this year.
I'm sorry. 4 of the top 6 teams are from the Big Ten.
but also the selection committee is Big Ten heavy. I mean, it has been the complaint for the past 2 years in college football that all these college football playoff guys are all SEC based and they only think about SEC, and they got their wish and now it's Big Ten, and I think.
And all of a sudden, there's 4 Big Ten teams.
Yeah.
on top.
I don't think they're 4.
But there is no
They're
there's no clear cut team in the SEC that matches up to any of the Big Ten teams other than Alabama.
other than Alabama.
It goes Alabama, then what?
Florida?
Texas A&M, Florida. Look what they did to Florida.
Yeah.
54-16.
I'm just saying.
And
like,
Alabama didn't even play amazing that game.
yeah, they had what they had like
They had, like,
-7 yards,
In
but
the
had
first
17
quarter,
points.
yeah.
Right.
Special teams
Okay, well,
That
what did
defense is
Alabama's defense had how 13
it scored
touchdowns?
13 no, I think it was 12.
12 touchdowns on
It
the
was
year.
like 11 or 13 somewhere in there
But
touchdowns in the regular season.
comparable touchdowns from Alabama's defense on the year when compared to a couple offensive aspects of several college football teams.
Yeah.
But in the end, Trace McSorley for Penn State would not be denied, and they got that win over Wisconsin.
So I do think that the committee did just set a precedent for the future. I think I'm not complaining about the pick at all. I understand it completely. I am not disagreeing with anything. But as much as it pains me to say this, I think if the goal is to put in the 4 best teams, Michigan has
Yeah.
to be in.
That
Over Washington.
Washington, like I feel like
They
the
play
only
Portland State, man.
yeah, but here we go. This is the problem I have in the Big 12. The only thing that people know how to do in the Big 12, the teams just constantly go into shootouts every week. It's like 45 to like 44, sometimes even like
Wait,
7.
Big 12 or Pac 12?
Big 12.
Okay.
And the Pac-12 is the same way, just less points and a little more defense.
Well, that's
We saw that with Colorado
Yeah, that's every team outside of the SEC, I think.
and the Big 10. But here's the thing: you have a Wisconsin, you have an Iowa. The Iowa beat Michigan. The only reason that they beat Michigan is because their rush defense, the Big Ten's rush defense, and the SEC's pass defense, is the defense that staples the offenses to be good. I'm saying that the only thing in the Pac-12 and the Big 10 and the Big 12 that teams have going for them is offense. There's no defense played, so it should not be a question that Michigan is better than a Washington team because Jake Browning's a great quarterback. I'm not saying that he's not, but I'm saying I would if the committee wants like you said, the 4 best teams, there should not be a Pac-12 team.
I'm gonna break it down. My opinion. My number 1 team, no disagreement here, Alabama.
Right.
Number 2 team, Ohio State.
I agree.
Number 3 team, Michigan.
Agreed.
Number 4 team, Clemson.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That
totally
would
agree.
be my top 4 for just skill wise. I do recognize the committee can't just say, we're the best team, because then there's no point in the season, right? If it's predetermined who's the best team, there's no point in really playing the season. That's what smaller schools like Washington have to say.
I mean, I think that's the thing with Alabama. Everyone knows going into the year, Alabama's going to be very
top 4.
close, if not the best team in the league.
Well, I think they've started the last 5 years number one,
and they've faltered maybe once, and it was to Florida State or Oregon. They've maybe 2 falters that they've had in the past decade. I think for me, the biggest thing about the selection was Penn State. I think, yes, their out-of-conference schedule was not quite as highly valued as Ohio State's, and they did win on a blocked kick. But there's definitely something to be said about winning the Big Ten.
I disagree.
I disagree too.
Because
But would we even be having the same conversation if Washington doesn't get in? Because then, are we going to still be talking about
if Washington loses to Colorado,
Who goes in?
then there becomes an issue of okay, who's going to go in? Penn State beat Ohio State in Happy Valley. Michigan whooped Penn State.
By 39 points.
And Michigan went into double overtime with Ohio State.
Right.
Those 2 teams, Ohio State and Michigan, joined the ACC winner in Clemson, who they only lost once.
And they have played very well the past couple of
They
years.
lost to a ranked Pitt team.
They lost to
Who also beat
in
Penn
overtime,
State.
Yep.
I believe.
Put Pitt in Western Michigan in the playoff.
We just need to add a wild card to the college football.
Here
6 teams.
This
6 teams.
No. Here
8 teams.
6.
Okay, stop.
I like 8.
Before we continue going on, I'm going to ask the question so people know what we're talking about. Should there be an 8-team playoff?
I think 8's too much. 6 is the way to go.
But if
I would
it's
agree.
6, then there's
The top
going to
2
be
get the
6
bye.
and 7,
Top
and
2
you're going
get
to be
the
like,
bye.
well, but
You're gonna have
You're
that
always
problem.
gonna have
yeah,
it.
you're
If you go
always
8,
gonna have
8
that
and 9,
problem.
there's
right.
There is
No matter-
never 8 elite
But I
teams.
think
think
that
8 is
the
too
farther
much.
you go, the farther you go down, like those teams, like a Colorado would just get demolished by any of the
Exactly. That's why
Well,
you
look,
do
they got
6.
demolished in the Pac.
Yeah, but the more
or
fan
the
bases that you
Pac-12
bring
stuff.
into it, the better for college football.
Right, that's
the more,
true. Yeah.
the
Is
more
that
fan
though?
bases, the
Well,
more
yeah,
teams,
'cause that's
the more
how they make
conferences.
revenue.
Well, this is why the NCAA is the trickery. It's the corrupt and tricked.
Oh, now.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I think now I'm not dissing your Buckeyes, but I'm saying I think one of the helpful factors that got Ohio State into the playoff is their fan base is legendary. Just like if Florida was if Florida was a borderline team, I think Florida would be in it because their fans travel so well and they put so much.
I don't think it's necessarily the amount of fans that show up more than the
Yeah, but they're still
more
trying
than
to
the
make money.
importance. Yeah, like the importance of the school. They make like maybe 3% of their money from the people who go to the games. It's TV money that is the main source. So of course, like I get that point of Ohio State, Florida, Texas, they're gonna make more money because they have bigger followings than say Washington.
Right.
They also have the most viewers
Yeah.
for the TV networks, which
Yeah.
is what the TV networks are interested in.
It just seems like 6 would be good for me because then no one's complaining. Who was 7 in the poll? Wisconsin, right?
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma. Yeah. Oklahoma.
If you went 6, you would have 3 Big Ten teams.
Didn't Oklahoma lose to Texas?
That was last year. They
Was
might
it?
have lost this year. I know Oklahoma lost to Ohio
So
State.
you're saying 6 teams, so that means the top.
Yeah, so
Two
right
would
now
would get a
Ohio
bye.
State and Clemson would have buys.
No, Alabama.
No,
Alabama.
That's what I meant.
Right,
That's what I
okay.
meant. That's what I meant.
Ohio
Um,
biased.
And then what? 3 would play 6,
So you'd have an Ohio
Four
State
would play
Michigan rematch,
and that would be.
And then you'd have
that
Washington-
would so many viewers.
and then you'd have Washington Penn State.
Can
which
you
would probably be
imagine the viewers of having 2 the games in one
Yeah.
year? After the first one this year and
After the
double
first-
over.
Well,
again?
like I said earlier, that's the number one. That's the best college football game I've
Yeah.
ever watched.
Yeah.
It's Ohio State Michigan's the best rivalry in sports.
I would agree.
That's
In
just
sports,
it's-
in sports,
in
in
sports,
sports,
pushing
Hold
it.
on,
Not
hold
in
on,
you
hold
said
on.
some crazy things.
Hold on, hold on.
Boston and New
Hold
York.
on. The Boston Red Sox and the New York
No.
Yankees.
Oh,
Yeah.
come on.
Second.
No.
Second. Michigan,
To
Ohio
Michigan,
State.
Ohio.
No
It's
way.
bigger.
No, you
No.
can't.
No,
No,
it's
you
not.
can't.
The Bambino, the
It's-
longevity of that rivalry.
That
oh
Michigan
my
State,
God.
Ohio State's been
Martinez
around
and
since
Zimmer?
the-
Michigan, not Michigan.
Veritek
State.
and
I can
A-Rod
see that.
going at it. No, you.
The punch to the face.
The
Jabril
picking up
Peppers
and throwing
punch in the
down.
face?
Stop. We're not.
Don Zimmer getting thrown by Pedro.
I don't know.
All right, let's
Aaron
bring it back to
Beaton
college
Boone.
football here. Back to college football.
Kevin Millar.
No.
Dave Robert.
The stolen base
we're
heard
we're
round
gonna-
the world.
we're-
Big Poppy.
We've gotten
gonna
off
try-
task.
we're
Let's-
okay.
let's cycle
Just
back.
wait until baseball season starts.
We're gonna
because-
bring it back
We
to.
got the winter meetings next week. There could be some big news, but back to football.
But back to football. We're gonna wrap things up with college football real quick. We're gonna actually wrap things up with our podcast here. We're gonna do a little pick'em section, and we're gonna be picking NFL games as well as the college football bowl games approaching. So, how this game is played, it's exactly what you think. We're going to pick the winners
Explain it.
of the bowl games and the NFL games coming up. So, let's start with some notable January bowl games. The Outback Bowl played in Tampa, Florida. It's Big Ten versus SEC. Iowa versus Florida. Whit, who do you have?
I'm gonna go Florida
Why?
defense, though they didn't really make a showing against Alabama, but not many defenses do. I just think that Florida's offense has not been particularly skillful this season, but I think their defense has been their one shining point in their year this year, and I think their defense will shut down anyone they play that's not Alabama.
Zach.
I'm gonna say Iowa. Iowa's played pretty well the last couple weeks. They've got some big wins in the recent weeks. I think Iowa's gonna squeak one out.
Florida. Florida's better.
Okay. Salmon.
I'm gonna go Iowa after seeing Florida get embarrassed by Alabama. Their pride might still be hurt.
would have done.
Iowa beat Michigan.
Ooh. Luck.
Alabama and Michigan are not on the same level.
No, but Michigan's
No.
also.
Okay,
better.
okay.
All
We're
right,
just
all right, all right.
stop.
I'm
Casey.
still going Iowa for the same reason as Jack said.
Game recognized game. I like it.
You know, that's kind of getting just absolutely undressed by Alabama. It's just
They were.
I don't see how you can even try and have any type of momentum swing and going into it.
I don't think it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Here we go. Let's get
Instead of explaining why, since that took a little longer than I expected, we're just gonna choose your team and just say give a
good
one
old-fashioned
give
pick'ems.
give a give a one word answer as to why. Well, that's what we'll do.
Oh, here we go.
Orange Bowl, December 30th in Miami, Florida. ACC versus Big Ten.
Michigan defense.
Michigan, Jabril Peppers.
That's 2 words.
It's Florida State versus Michigan. Thanks for letting me say that. So 2 Michigans. Whit.
Michigan defense.
Michigan defense.
Michigan defense.
Anyone else want to say Jabril Peppers?
I'll say Jabril Peppers. Actually-
Jabril.
Okay. Moving forward, the Cotton Bowl, January 2nd.
Oh, I'm hype.
Western Michigan undefeated versus Wisconsin. Whit, who do you have?
Wisconsin, they're the better football team.
Wisconsin, far and away.
Are you?
I'm on the bandwagon. Western Michigan stays undefeated.
Western Michigan, and the one word, undefeated.
The better football team, Wisconsin.
Oh, Lord.
Okay. Rose Bowl, January 2nd, Pasadena, California. Big Ten versus Pac-12, Penn State and USC. Whit, who do you have?
Ooh, this is a tough one, but I think I'm going to go with Penn State. Trace McSorley riding the high of his last performance.
Zach.
Penn State playing some of the best football in the country.
I'm gonna go USC, but I want to say something here.
Please do.
This is some BS scheduling. they gave USC a home game.
That's true.
That is.
I'm gonna say USC. Penn State's gonna be down in the dumps after they were left out.
I'm going to say Penn State because they won the Big Ten and they think they're great.
Penn State momentum.
I'm a USC guy myself. I believe that the Trojans will pull
But
through.
boy, I tell you, that's gonna be a heck of a.
Moving.
Sugar Bowl, January 2nd.
Sugar Daddy.
Nolans. It's in Nolans. Big 12 versus
That's
SEC.
New Orleans from if you didn't understand.
Oklahoma versus Auburn. Who do you guys have? Whit.
Ooh, I'm going to have to go with Oklahoma.
Oklahoma because of D.D. Westbrook.
Oklahoma because of Baker Mayfield.
Oklahoma because have you ever seen Baker Mayfield dance? He's got moves.
Oklahoma, just cause.
I got Auburn's. I have Auburn. Peach Bowl, December 31st, Atlanta, Georgia. Semifinal, Alabama, Washington. Whit, who do you have?
Is this even a question?
It's not.
Wait, is this a unanimous?
This
Washington
is
upset.
Miss Alabama.
You know what?
Washington.
I'm going Washington upset.
You heard it here
upset.
first, folks.
Browning.
Outcast Podcast.
Going
Washington
yard.
is going to upset Alabama.
Browning will throw for 400 yards and they will still lose. He's not going to be a factor. Alabama's defense is so good. That's
I
could be worse than the Florida game.
don't see anyone beating Alabama. Alabama's gonna put Washington so far in their back rearview mirrors.
Fiesta Bowl, December
I didn't have
31st.
anything to say.
In Glendale, Arizona. The semifinal, Clemson versus Ohio State. Whit, who do you have?
I'm going to go Clemson.
Thank you.
I'm going to go Clemson.
Easy, Donald.
Zach.
Clemson.
Let me just say, Ohio State, obviously. They have a top 3 running. They might have 2 of the top 10 running backs in the country, in Curtis Samuel and Mike Weber. Both 1,000 rushers. Clemson defense always struggles. I just think Ohio State's gonna walk their way to an easy victory here.
I have to say OHNO. I'm going Clemson.
Oh,
Deshaun Watson. Here's my thing. He's not going to win Heisman. He's going to be upset. He's going to go out and have a big game.
Yeah, but then
Clemson's
going
gonna
to
win.
60-59.
Watson will run for 100 yards, throw for 300,
He'll show.
and
Against Ohio, man.
Ohio
You guys,
State's defense is good.
Yeah.
Very good defense.
well,
I'm
we'll see.
not saying they're not a good
see.
team.
Casey,
will-
I've got Ohio State. I see them as the better football team.
Just let's look at strength of schedule really quick.
No,
Well,
we're not
no,
going
no,
to.
okay.
We're
No,
not
no.
going to do that.
Ohio State's a very good
Championship
team.
Bowl, January 9th in Tampa, Florida. Who do you guys have winning the college football national championship?
well,
Is it?
if history repeats itself for the 8th millionth time, Alabama.
Zach.
Alabama.
If history repeats itself,
Oh, here we
Ohio
go.
State will beat Alabama once again.
Jack.
It's like drinking vinegar, but I have to go Alabama. I don't want to do it or say it, but they're so good.
Alabama. You got Alabama over Ohio State is going
Jake,
to be the.
what do you have? You haven't made many predictions here.
Fitzpatrick and Reuben Foster are too good for Alabama. I got Alabama just because of their defense alone. And Nick Saban.
I thought Ryan Fitzpatrick at first. Fear the beard.
Okay, now we're going to move on to our last part of Pick'ems. Week 14 in the NFL. We're getting close to the end of the season and on to the playoffs. Raiders Chiefs. Thursday night game. Who do you guys have? Whit.
Raiders, Derek Carr, big game.
Zach.
Chiefs. They're playing really well right now.
Powers.
Raiders, said it before, say it again. Cleo Mack.
Chiefs. Eric Berry.
Raiders, if Derek Carr wants to raise his MVP case, he's going to have a terrific game.
Steelers Bills.
Bills.
I got
Mafia.
it. Buffalo.
In a game with huge playoff implications, I'm going to go with the Bills.
That's right.
Yeah, everyone who said Bills is wrong.
Bills Mafia.
The Steelers are too high-powered in offense to lose to a mediocre team like the Bills.
Mediocre.
Guys, come on.
On to the next.
Broncos, Titans, Whit.
Broncos.
I'm calling the Titans at home.
I'm calling upset too. Titans. Mariota's gonna say hop on.
Broncos.
He's gonna win him the game.
No, Broncos.
Titans at home. I've got Titans at home.
Okay.
Just following people.
Redskins,
No.
Eagles. Big NFC East matchup.
Eagles.
I'm gonna take the.
Redskins.
Redskins.
I'm taking the Washington R words.
Can't stop Kirk Cousins.
I'm going to go Redskins.
Plus Wentz is struggling like crazy right
The
now.
Wentz wagon has been derailed. I'm going Redskins.
Pennsylvania is no more.
Cardinals, Dolphins, Whit.
I'm going to go Dolphins. Cardinals are just not playing good football.
Dolphins at home.
Cardinals.
Dolphins.
Dolphins.
I would make a Dolphins.
Vikings, Jags.
What they sound like.
Whit.
Vikes.
Zach.
I'm
Who do you
gonna
have?
I'm going to go with the Vikings.
This is the easiest pick of the day. Vikings.
Vikings.
Texans, Colts, AFC South matchup. Andrew Luck will be back.
I'm going to go Indy in Luck's return.
I will as well.
Yeah.
The Texans are 1-5 away from home.
Yeah.
They don't have J.J. Watt either.
Luck is the best player on
Yeah,
the field.
Brock
He's gonna win the
Osweiler.
game.
Even with Brock Osweiler, I'm going to have to go with the Colts. Texans are just the Colts.
This should be a good one. Chargers, Panthers. Battle of the losing records.
Hey, they can get back to 500.
Chargers.
I'm going to go Phillip Rivers and the Chargers.
I'm going to hop on the Melvin Gordon train again. Go with Chargers.
Cam Newton.
Super
Panthers.
Cam.
Super Cam. I agree.
Newton's due for a huge game.
I agree.
Super
I got
Cam
Panthers.
Newton.
Yeah.
Matchup of the
Here we go.
matchup of the black, the brown, and the orange. The
Let me
Bengals.
Let me start. 0-16 is not happening. This is the week.
What about the parade?
Thought you wanted. Yeah.
What about the parade?
This is the week. The Browns are going to find a way to squeak one out. RG3 is probably going to be back. He's going to play his best career game as a Brown, which is very low standards.
But might be enough to win.
It's not going to be a pretty win, but it's going to be like a 13-10 win Browns, calling it.
I think the Bengals are, like we said, they're getting hot, but at the wrong time. The Browns are not going to win. It's not. It's just not.
It is
Andy
hard.
Dalton.
It's hard to pick the Browns. I am picking the Bengals.
Yep, I'm going Andy Dalton and the Cincinnati Bengals.
It's going to be the Bengals. Sorry, Jack.
All right, my Chicago Bears take on the NFC North leading Detroit Lions. Whit, who do you have?
I'm going to go Detroit.
Detroit.
Sorry,
Cleveland Bears have yet to win away from home.
The
Cleveland
Cleveland Bears.
Chicago
Who are
Bears.
they?
Cleveland.
The Cleveland
Oh,
Bears.
Jack is just getting in all of our heads.
Matthew Stafford is an elite quarterback. Lions.
Do you believe that?
Yes.
Stafford can go off on occasion.
Stafford has.
Put Stafford
I
in
saw some
Buffalo.
stat. It was
They-
Stafford has the most career touchdowns through 100 games in the
Stafford,
history of the NFL.
but he also had Megatron.
That's a
for
true
while.
fact. That is a fact.
I don't care. The Bears. Bears pull out a big win.
The Bears lose. Lions pull out a big win.
All right, Jets and 49ers matchup of
Fear the beard.
who do you guys have?
Well,
49ers.
after Kaepernick got benched, let's go with the Jets.
I'm going to go with the Jets. I think both teams are really, really bad, but I think the Jets are less bad.
Is it
That's a good
possible
analogy.
that the Browns aren't in the worst matchup of the week?
Stop.
I'm taking the Jets in this one.
I think so.
Jets.
Case.
Jets.
Okay. Moving on.
This is a big game.
This should be a good game. Saints Bucks.
Ooh.
Whit, who do you have?
Nolans.
Nolans.
New
Zach.
Orleans.
He's going off.
Tampa Bay. Remember when they played Seattle at home? What that defense did?
True.
Sam.
I'm gonna go Saints. Drew Brees gonna go off.
Case.
I think a big game out of Jameis Winston is coming. I'm going to go Buccaneers.
I agree. Famous Jameis and Mike Evans are going to hook up.
Steal
Yeah.
some crab legs while he's at it.
Falcons Rams. Whit, who do you have?
I'm going to have to go with Matty Ice and the Falcons on this one.
Julio Jones in Atlanta.
Yeah, Falcons.
Falcons.
Falcons. Do we think Matt Ryan has a
Matt
chance
Ryan's
at winning
MVP
MVP?
chance.
He's
No.
got a, I mean, small
think-
chance. Small
Isn't he
chance.
leading
He's
passing
good.
yards?
He is
Or he
good,
was.
but with who's
Breeze.
leading right now, I don't think
Breeze.
he
I
has a
think
chance.
is it Breeze?
Most passing yards.
Yeah.
It's Breeze. It's
Yeah,
Breeze
who
and
knows, who
Cousins.
cares? Seahawks, Packers, Cheeseheads
Oh.
versus the 12th man.
So
Okay,
this
it's not
this could
playing.
be a pretty awesome game. I'm gonna go with Aaron Rodgers in the pack.
Yeah.
They've been playing well at the right time.
I'm gonna go with the pack too, especially after the Seahawks' poor showing against Tampa Bay. I am gonna have to go with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, just to elaborate on that, Aaron Rodgers. Rodgers might be the best quarterback the game has. Might be. Strong might be there.
Just went off on Tom Brady for like the first 30 minutes, but okay.
All right, Aaron Rodgers might be the second best quarterback this game has to offer. He's going to have a big game. Packers are going to win. And it's at home.
Russell might be the third best quarterback. I'm gonna go Seahawks.
I'm going Seahawks. Packers have been inconsistent.
In Lambeau, you're taking Seattle.
I'm still taking Seattle in Lambeau.
Probably in the snow.
The Sunday night football
Seattle's-
This will
game.
be a good.
Cowboys, Giants, we talked about it. Whit, who wins?
In New York.
Oh my gosh! You know, I'm gonna go with New York.
Wow.
Bold.
Zach.
I'm gonna say Dallas. Their offensive line is too good.
Yeah, it's Dallas. Zeke can't be stopped.
Dallas is going to win.
Unless Eli Manning can have an unbelievable game, Dallas has got it.
I got the Giants. Odell. Hiya!
Des Bryant. The X.
Bum, 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 bum. The Monday night game. Ravens, Pats. Whit, who do you have?
Baltimore.
Is Joe
Upset.
Flacco elite?
No,
I
but
think
he's not bad.
I think New England's gonna squeak out the closest win of the year.
Yeah, this is a joke. New England. Easy.
Jacob Tucker. Game-winning field goal as time expires.
Justin.
Yes,
Justin Tucker.
Scratch that. Scratch that. Patriots
Case.
it is.
I've got the Ravens.
Tucker for the game-winning field goal
Terrell Suggs.
in overtime.
Terrell Suggs is a scary human being. I got Ravens. All right, everybody. Thank you for listening to the second edition of the Outcasts Podcast. Just six guys, bringing sports in a different view to you guys. If you're listening, thank you. Please share. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at the Outcasts Pod. Thanks for listening. We'll see you soon.